Fundraising is really important to HFT because obviously most of our funding comes from the local authorities.
The money that we get from local authorities to support the adults with learning disabilities only covers the bare minimum.
It's about seeing them become the person that they want to be. They become better people, they're taking control of their own lives.
So that's why we fundraise for what we call the charitable projects.
So the charitable projects that we've got at HFT are family carer support, our personalised technology service, Love to Meet You in Hum Tum, and our volunteering service.
Well, as well as funding the charitable projects, it means that we can invest in things like properties. We can make sure that the people that we support are living in fantastic buildings with their friends in places where they want to live.
We have many different streams of fundraising, so we have regular giving, membership, legacies, trusts, corporates and major donors. Those are some of our major fundraising avenues.
And obviously we've had the London Marathon, Pride London.
Those continue to be good fundraising activities for us.
We've also been quite fortunate this year that a few people who donated in memory took on some challenge events in memory of their loved one.
When people very kindly choose to leave us a gift in their will, we're always incredibly grateful because it means that we can do so much more.
So we're going to continue to promote Gifts in Wills to not just our supporter base, but to the general public.
And also make sure that we spend that on any projects that they specify.
These gifts make such a difference to the people we support, and what we really want people to understand is it doesn't matter what size the gift they want to leave us, any gift would make a massive difference to adults with learning disabilities.
So we have to make sure that we monitor all the projects that are being funded so that we can then feed back to people and say, this is the difference that your money actually made.
One area that we know people with learning disabilities hugely struggle with, and actually family carers as well, is isolation.
If you're living alone, if you're living by yourself and only get to see your support worker every day, you might want to get together with your mates. Of course you would. I would.
Love to Meet You is a friendship and dating agency that was started 10 years ago by HFT.
So I think families do really appreciate the idea of our friendship and dating services, Love to Meet You, and then the Asian arm of that, which is Hum Tum.
So it's about making sure that they can get together and they can have the sorts of friendships as you and I would.
This is an opportunity to go out and go to cinemas or sporting events or bowling or for a drink.
I guess it's the equivalent of you going into a bar and having a chat with someone and finding out what they're interested in, but it's just done through HFT in a safe environment.
Love to Meet You as an organisation has been around for 10 years this year.
If it's been going for 10 years, that must mean that it's really having an effect, that actually people are desperate for this sort of activity and we're providing it.
And they've actually produced a booklet to commemorate the achievements that they've had. Hum Tum came from Love to Meet You, really. It's Urdu for you and me.
I think particularly for the Hum Tum group, I know that that's done in what's considered to be appropriate venues and that.
And the way that it differs, it does all the same things, it does social activities, but it will celebrate things like Eid. It will be sensitive to people's cultural and maybe religious needs.
Hum Tum is mainly friendship because that's what's appropriate.
Hum Tum's 5th year celebration had a big celebration, a big get-together in Annam's restaurant in Bradford, which brought together our past staff, present staff, members and families.
Volunteering is really important to us, and it's an area which we've been working on, and I think we can do a lot more.
Just under 300 volunteers at the moment.
When times are tight, when we're having to cut back on funding, volunteers offer an opportunity to do a bit more, a bit different, a bit special. It's not about replacing staff, it's about adding extras on.
People with a different perspective than staff necessarily have can bring maybe a richer experience.
An example I like to use is someone we support who likes to go and support his football team in Sheffield. Actually, none of the other staff team are particularly keen on that football team, but there's a volunteer who would love to go along and take him. They go to the match together, they enjoy the game.
2,750 hours a year is a fantastic amount for us to get from volunteers.
It enhances the person we support's life. It's great for the volunteer because they love doing it.
And it would be staff locally that would be best placed to know where they were and how to match somebody appropriately with the needs and the personalities.
I think that's really important for us to make sure that the people who are volunteering for HFT are doing things that they enjoy, because otherwise why would they do it?
The volunteer buddies is kind of the methodology for addressing what was the potential problem, loneliness and isolation.
In the last financial year, we were successful in obtaining a significant and long-term grant from the Big Lottery Fund,
which is exclusively for that project to start off a buddying scheme for its members.
The Family Care Support Service is a national service supporting family carers, specifically who have a relative with a learning disability.
Good afternoon, the Family Care Support Service.
What we can do with them is make sure that they are getting all the level of support that they need in order to look after individuals.
So we do that whether or not their relative is with HFT, and we support them in a number of ways. So we do that via the phone or email. We run workshops on things like the Care Act or the Mental Capacity Act. We respond to government consultations which affect family carers, and we produce a whole range of resources. So we have our holiday information guide. We're in the middle of producing some new resources as well.
The time is 12:39 p.m.
The biggest thing to come out of fundraising for me would be Funds for the Future.
Funds for the Future was something that we created using legacy money, so money that had been left to us in people's wills. We asked people around the country, are there projects that they think that they want to do but that they haven't got the money for because there isn't any local authority money?
Twice a year we'll have an application period where staff will fill out an application form and submit it.
And we have a committee of staff who then look at different projects and then make decisions about which ones are the best ones to take forward.
But what we're looking for really is something that's a bit different, it's fresh, it's creative and innovative.
They can apply up to £5,000, that's the limit. Obviously we're happy if people want to just ask for 250, but they can go up to 5,000 if that's what they need.
So in the last few years then we funded 20 projects that wouldn't have been funded probably any other way.
We have had accessible kitchens being built in Devon.
We had a disused car park at a service in Bradford, and they didn't have any outdoor space, and we had an application to turn that car park into an accessible garden.
And it just goes to show the real difference that leaving a gift in your will can make to the people that we support.
All those projects happen because of fundraised income. Without those projects, people with learning disabilities wouldn't have access to meet their friends, to socialise, to build on their social skills, their confidence. It's really important that those projects continue to happen.
So despite all the financial challenges, we've had some real successes, and I think HFT has really made some big stride forwards over the year.
From a supporter's point of view, it's really good for us to demonstrate that that's how we use fundraising income.
There you go, hold that one. Right, what was you doing? You were shaking it in, wasn't you?
And I'm very proud of what the staff teams have been able to achieve in the pressurised funding environment we found ourselves in.
Fundraising has been going through a process where people have lost confidence in it externally.
One of the challenges we face is that fundraising has come under increased scrutiny right across the board. And this is right. It is right that how we raise funds, how the sector and charities raise funds, is scrutinised.
There was an organisation called Neat Feet who have been all over the press, who were fundraising for lots of different organisations, including HFT.
News in the press about charities hounding individuals with letters and correspondence asking for money.
And that led to a full internal review into the processes and methods of fundraising that we use at HFT. And as a result of that, we are following different methods of fundraising.
And it's really important that it's done ethically and it's done fairly. And we're right behind that. What it does do is put a lot greater burden on how we do our fundraising, all the checks and balances and governance that's involved in doing it right.